Hello, little mortals. How are you this evening? Always good to see you, although I do feel like it's been some time. Well, nevertheless, we have a lovely little project tonight. So, last time, we built this lovely ruined structure, and in order to make proper good use of it, I feel we're going to have to make it a little bit more enticing for the mortals of the area. Oh look, there's one of them now. And also I noticed that it is getting a little bit on the chilly side lately. Perhaps we'll just have to deal with that, but mortals tend to be a little bit more on the fragile side of things. So, we're going to try and add some accoutrement, some greater decor, a little bit of infrastructure to our little church temple structure here. And obviously nothing comes for free. You don't deal with the Fae and get something for free. That's just not how it works. So, we're going to try and make this a little bit more conditional. And to that end, we're going to be making use of minecarts again. Remember those? They're so much fun. So, let's just set up a quick little assembler here. There we are. And if we connect things to our assembler, then we can make ourselves a nice, stable structure. But it's certainly not going anywhere. So not that piece anytime soon. Thank you. And we can then attach, happily, a minecart. Thanks for that glue. Allowing us to have this wonderful, temporary, completely worthless, but nonetheless handy for demonstration, structure. And if we right-click, we can in fact get the entire thing in a single item. Very convenient, I'm sure. But if we then place a rail here and place our contraption there, the entire thing appears, and as you can see, the very important detail here is that it does not actually clash with the terrain. It just happily sits there, overlaps it entirely, and that allows us to actually have a complete physical object here that does not, in fact, have any trouble being moved around. Indeed, we can't even walk through it. We can stand upon it, even though it's attached to the minecart. Very convenient indeed. There are some limitations here, of course, but it should be good enough for our purposes, so we're going to clear out some space, and we're going to make a minecart roof for this area. Sounds fun. There we are, one lovely little roof. A nice rosy red colour. I thought I would add a bit of tone to this. The greens in the rocks over here are quite nice, but I feel like this needs a little bit more pizzazz, as they say. So, all of this roof is completely connected together using glue, and we've got the same bricks and such on the outermost edges here, which we will use to tie the whole thing together. So hopefully this should be one solid piece. And let's find out. And indeed, we appear to have an entire roof. Oh, there does appear to be at least one piece left behind, but that's not a problem. We can just place this back and fix that up. Aha, returned once more to block form. And let me see, I believe it was here. That was off. Ah yes, there's nothing connecting it. I see. But we can fix that quite happily. Just by adding that. Okay. Everywhere else fine? Yes, it does appear to be. This part should wrap around the edge there, I believe. And now let's put this into place. This will not be where it ends, but it is where it's going to be for the moment, just whilst we test that everything has been taken up. Yes, very good. So, pick that up. Pick this up while we're at it, because we need a rail. And we need to be in the middle of over here for this to be properly positioned and facing in this direction. So right here, place that down, and all of a sudden, our lovely temple happens to have a roof. There's a little bit of Z-fighting up there related to light levels, because the light level of the entire roof is dependent upon the light level at our minecart. But I don't think that comes across too overtly. I don't think they'll notice it too much. And we should be able to just happily walk around on top of this. Yes. Lovely. Wonderful. Oh, I love it. So, that isn't going to be where the actual minecart is for our final operation here, but it is a good start. What we're going to need to do now is lift this up a little bit more. We may even break this into 3 distinct minecarts so we can animate them independently. But otherwise, we just need to make sure that we have a physical component here that will not be visible to any part of the exterior. Now, these piston extension poles work very nicely for this. You can use a lot of things. A lot of glass panes are used for such a practice. But as long as it can hide inside of a full block, unlike these blocks over there that we can kind of see, then we should be able to hide the whole mechanism. Wonderfully easy. But now, I have to do some digging. Sometimes, little mortals, there is a snag. And, regrettably, we have hit such a snag today. Or, yeah, more or less. And we have managed to get all of the roof perfectly in place. Barely a hint at all of anything particularly sneaky happening. And if we run back here, we have a ladder leading us down into the operational area, where I have broken up the entirety of the roof into 3 segments. I originally planned for 6, but I think 3 will suffice, particularly given certain unfortunate revelations. And if we head down here, we can see largely what you have already seen in that time-lapse, where we have water wheels, which are noisy as heck, but are nonetheless functional, feeding into a rotation speed controller, reading power into this gear shift, And that is using a mechanical belt all the way down here to feed every single one of these distinct different pistons. And the plan was that we would just have these minecarts on these kind of lifts for them, and they would go up and down, and everything would be beautiful, and it would work. Unfortunately, as you may have noticed in the course of that particular time-lapse, there were some early problems with that idea, which resulted in us not actually being able to move these and have them stay stable, or even facing the right way. So, consequently, I don't think we'll be doing it quite the original way, which is rather a shame, because I did put some, like, good effort into this, and it should be all very nice and functional, but, you know, sometimes engineering throws a bit of a problem in your way. But this is quite nice, and I was just going to turn off these clutches in a sequence, and it would have a nice little wave as they all went through, but we're going to have to try something a little bit different. So if we head back up our ladder, I have at least managed to concoct a solution. Over here, we have a modular system that we should be able to repeat 3, even 4 times, including the tower, over in order to correctly display the minecart and then store the minecart, which has the added advantage that we will not be crushing anyone with the roof whenever it is time to remove it and such. So in here we have part of the church roof. We are currently powered by just a small fan engine. It is not very powerful at the least, but also the system does not require very much power. So hopefully this should be all fan-dibby-doozy. So there we go. That is the front section of the church deposited and in place and perfectly aligned. And if we then flick this, it allows power to go to this deployer, which very slowly, because the system is not running quickly, will then use a wrench on the minecarts, which will then funnel through here and into this chute where the fan blows it back up eventually into this dispenser to go again. We also have an observer over here. This smart chute has been filtered, so it will not extract the wrench, but will extract anything else. Whenever there is anything in the hopper directly below this chute, it outputs a signal turning off power here. So we send a pulse when we want to show it, and we send a secondary pulse when we want to actually get rid of it. And that should mean that this entire thing should be relatively small, but also it's more or less there upwards. It's not very big at all, and we just have all of that space down there that I just dug out and have absolutely no use for. But you know, sometimes that's just how it goes. So at least I know I'll have plenty of room to put all of those, but nevertheless, quite a bit more work incoming. This is going to be tricky to camera. Oh well. some things take far too much time for what they are, but I have nonetheless, I believe, found a solution that works amicably enough at the very least. So, as we can see, I have repeated our little design 3 times over, and it should be able to perfectly convey all of the parts of our roof into place at the click of a button. And it is powered very straightforwardly through different conveyor belts running through here, so that we can power everything with the same power supply. We don't have to worry about fiddling through with different shafts and gearboxes and all sorts. It works just quite perfectly well. Tis still a bit noisy, but hopefully that will not be too noisy. I might even be able to speed this up slightly, but I don't think it's too necessary. And if we hop up, we can go and have a look and see how it goes in progress. Obviously, this is not in its final form, because we haven't actually added the clock-based timing of it, so it's just going to be whenever I decide that the windows and the roofs and whatnot should be there, but it should work nonetheless. Anyways, I have a linked controller. Very simple to make. If you can make a redstone link, which you shouldn't have too much trouble with that, then you can make the controller just a bunch of buttons to it. Very simple. Very simple. A little bit more complex, but, you know, we can make it seem a bit easier. There we go. So there's the manual interface, but we can use it to take over our WASD, our space, and our left shift, and from there, give it whatever key bindings we like, and then we can just use them as we like, more or less. Very simple, straightforward. We can also just right-click onto a link to copy its particular one to a specific key, which is very handy. But I am rambling, and it has been quite the evening, so let's have a look, shall we? Oh, I love it. I love it so. Just smoothly moves into position. Now, we do have a few more pieces to add to this. I would like to actually have windows, just so that this is maybe more completely actually contained. We need to fix up there as well. A nice spiral staircase, I think, should go quite nicely in here, all the way up. And, well, what does every congregation need? Some pews. But for the moment, this will do quite nicely. And if I use my other key, there they go, for dawn. But as it is, my better half is going to be on duty for that, so I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all very soon. And real quick, stepping out of camera for a hot second, yeah, this video has taken nearly a month. Sorry about that. I've been wanting to get this out for so long that I've actually been labeling it as episode 10 in my files. That's how long it's been. It's just been a rough month for my energy levels and such, and I'm sorry about that. These things are rarely in my control, but I have been doing my best, and I'm hoping to get the whole series wrapped up for the coming new year. But if something pops up, then it will of course be delayed. Yeah, sorry about that. These things are done at the rate at which I can do them. Other than that, though, hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time. You wouldn't give your name and credit card information to an archfey, but you can give your name and credit card information to me at patreon.com/lying. We can get access to monthly rewards like custom audio clips, early video releases, behind-the-scenes content, and the monthly Patreon Games Day, all for as little as $1 a month. So to support future content, that's patreon.com/lying.